In this video, you're going to learn how to graph a system of equations, equations with two variables, and you're going to do that by graphing. We're going to start with a quick graphing review and show you how you can check your answer so that you know you always get the problem right. So let's refresh the coordinate plane. We're going to use slope-intercept form, and we're going to graph one line, and then we're going to graph the other line. Our first line we're going to start with is y equals 1/2 x minus 3. In this case, the y-intercept, the number by itself, is -3. So I'm going to start by putting a point at -3 on the y-axis. The next thing I'm going to look at is going to be the slope. And slope is rise over run, and that's going to be the number in front of my x. So that's that 1/2. The top number is positive, so I'm going to go up 1. And the bottom number is also positive, so I'm going to go to the right 2. So rise over run. Once I've plotted those 2 points, I'm going to connect that with a line, and then I'm going to look at my second equation. So my next equation is y equals 3x plus 2, and the 2 is my y-intercept in this case. So on the y-axis, I'm plotting a 2, and then I'm going to look at my slope, which again is going to be rise over run, and I'm looking at the number in front of the x. The top number tells me how much I'm going up or down. Since it's a positive 3, I'm going to go up. And since the bottom is a positive 1, I'm going to go to the right. So up 3 and over 1. Once I have those 2 points, I'm going to connect those with the line. And of greatest interest to me is where these 2 lines intersect. That's going to be the solution to our system today. So those 2 points connect at -2, -4. So I can take that solution of -2, -4, and I can plug it into the blue equation and the green equation. For x, I'm putting in -2, and for y, I'm putting in -4. I'm going to simplify the right-hand side on both of those equations, and I'm going to see that I end up with -4 equals -4 in both of the equations. That tells me I found the correct solution. Now let's look at another example. I have y equals 2x minus 2. We have the same situation. We're going to start with our y-intercept, and I'm going to put that at -2 on the y-axis. Once I'm there, I'm going to look at my slope, which in this case is 2 over 1. That's going to tell me to go up 2 and over 1. All right, once I have those 2 points plotted, I'm going to connect those with a line. And once I've drawn that line, I'm going to go ahead and look at my second equation. My second equation is y equals 1/3 x plus 3. I'm going to start with my y-intercept on the y-axis at +3. My slope in this case is 1/3, so my rise over run is 1/3, meaning I'm going to go up 1 because the 1 is positive, and to the right 3 because the denominator is also positive. Once I have those 2 points plotted, I'm going to go ahead and connect those with a line. And again, of most interest to me are where those 2 lines intersect. That is my solution to the systems of equations. So my 2 equations, y equals 2x minus 2 and y equals 1/3 x plus 3, intersect at the point 3, 4. I'm going to check my solution by plugging in 3, 4 into both equations. I'm going to plug in 3 for x and 4 for y. I'm going to simplify both sides, which is going to end up getting me 4 equals 4. Once I have the same number on both sides for both equations, I know that the point that I found is the solution. Looking at the next example, we have y equals 3x plus 6, and in this case, my y-intercept is 6. So I'm going to plot on the y-axis a +6. From there, I'm going to look at my slope, but the problem in this case is if I go up 3, I'm going to be off my chart already more than I am. So I'm going to have to come up with a different way to look at my rise over run. Well, a +3 over 1 can be rewritten as -3 over -1, because a negative divided by a negative is the same as a positive. So that means I can go down 3 and then to the left 1. So the -3 on top tells me to go down 3, the -1 on the bottom tells me to go left 1. Once I have those 2 points, I'm going to continue to connect those with a line. And once that line is drawn, I'm going to go ahead and look at my second equation. My second equation is y equals -1/2 x minus 1. My y-intercept is -1, the number by itself, so I'm going to plot that on the y-axis. I'm then going to look at my slope. My slope is a -1/2. So again, looking at rise over run. I'm going to put that negative in the numerator. So I'm actually going to go down 1, keeping that 2 a positive. So I'm going to go down 1 and to the right 2. Once I have those 2 points plotted, I'm going to connect those with a line. And now of greatest interest to me is where those 2 lines intersect. That point is going to be the solution to my systems. So my 2 lines, y equals 3x plus 6 and y equals -1/2 x minus 1, intersect at -2, 0, meaning -2, 0 is the solution to that system of equations. I'm going to check the answer by plugging in -2 for x and 0 for y, and simplifying both sides. I end up with 0 equals 0, and since both equations have the same number on both sides, I know that that was the solution. For this example, I have y equals 1/2 x minus 5/2. Ooh, this is going to be a little bit tricky because my y-intercept in this case is actually going to be a fraction. So I'm going to plot that at -2.5. So 5/2 is the same as -2.5. Now, if you don't like to work with the fractions in this way, you can always make an xy chart. But if I think about slope, rise over run, for my -2/2, I'm going to go up 1. That's going to take me to -1.5 on the y-axis, and I'm going to go over 2 to the right. So I'm going to end up at the point 2, -1.5. Again, if that's not something you want to deal with, you can just make an xy chart, pick any x values, plug them in to get your y value. As long as you get 2 points, you can get that line. Once I've completed that, I'm going to do my second equation. For my second equation, I have y equals -3x plus 1. So my y-intercept is 1, so I'll plot that there. My slope is a negative, so I'm going to put the negative up in the numerator. So for my 1, I'm going to go down 3 and to the right 1. Once I have those 2 points, I'm going to connect those with a line. And my lines intersect at 1, -2. So that is the solution to my system. Of course, I'm going to check my answer by plugging those both back into the equations. I'm going to plug in 1 for x, and I'm going to plug in -2 for y. I'm going to simplify both sides and make sure I have the same number on each side. You too can solve these types of equations. Just remember to be organized, have a nice system in place. And here's a shameless plug. Remember, a small channel, you can help out by subscribing, hitting like, and making a comment in the comment section. Happy mathing!